Good afternoon and welcome to this session, Free Resources from the Title VI Language Resource Centers. My name is Julie Sykes and I am with the Center for Applied Second Language Studies. I'm here to facilitate this session with colleagues from other Title VI Language Resource Centers. Kate McKay from the Center for Educational Resources in Culture, Language, and Literacy. Sarah Sweeney from the Center of Open Educational Resources and Language Learning, and Fernando Rubio from the Second Language Teaching and Research Center. This is a simulive session, which means that throughout the presentation we'll be here to answer your questions. We also will have extensive time at the end of the presentation to answer more and get you to the resources that you're looking for. Are you a Chinese immersion teacher looking to add curricular resources to your classroom? Or a Spanish teacher looking for professional development opportunities around assessment or curriculum design? Whatever it is, we're here to make sure we can point you in the right direction. Since the early 1990s, 16 language resource centers have been designated by the Title VI Higher Education Act. They are mandated to improve the capacity for foreign language teaching and learning, and they're selected in a grant cycle every 4 years. Collectively, the centers work in a number of different areas. The 16 language resource centers focus on research around language teaching and learning, creating learning and curriculum materials, developing assessments and professional development opportunities, highlighting a number of less commonly taught languages and supporting capacity in those languages, working on K-12 initiatives, and dedicating time to outreach and dissemination. This slide represents the numbers of different resources created during the first half of the current grant cycle. As you can see, there are quite a large number of projects with far-reaching impact. Today, we will focus on those resources which are available freely to all who need them.
Before we begin, we encourage you to take a moment to check out our Google Drive folder that includes a handout with free resources divided by category, like assessment, curriculum, or immersion resource. In the folder, you'll also find a brochure that provides an overview of each LRC and more information about the resources we're highlighting today, along with others that we won't get to today. Lastly, you'll find there a copy of this PowerPoint presentation. As previously mentioned, LRCs focus efforts in 8 areas: research, teaching materials, digital tools and resources, assessment, professional development, less commonly taught languages, K-12 initiatives, and outreach and dissemination. In this session, we're going to zero in on a subset of these areas. We'll start with assessment. LRCs develop and validate assessments to help educators know how their methods and materials are working, to give students a chance to demonstrate their learning, and to provide data for parents, teachers, and administrators. Classroom materials. LRCs develop classroom materials reflecting effective teaching strategies. Many LRCs have a significant focus on less commonly taught languages, and many materials are designed for those in K-12 contexts. These materials use engaging resources that support proficiency-oriented language instruction. They align with national standards. LRCs offer classroom materials for language learners studying more than 142 languages at all levels. Heritage learner resources. Teacher training programs do not typically include a focus on heritage language learners, although there are a growing number of these learners enrolled in language classes at all levels. As this population increases, LRCs are supporting educators who are doing their best to provide instruction for these students.
One area of Language Resource Center activity is immersion programs. As immersion programs grow and students begin to matriculate, it becomes more of a challenge for schools to find resources that are proficiency level appropriate, age appropriate, and high quality. Language Resource Centers are working on developing materials and research in immersion students and program articulation. Another area of LRC focus is professional development. LRCs offer educators the support they need to give their students the encouragement and skills that are necessary to develop proficiency in a language. Professional development activities come in many different forms. For example, intensive summer language institutes, webinars and podcasts, video libraries, and professional learning networks. Another area of LRC focus is research and advocacy. LRC's research projects address teaching methodology, the use of technology in assessment and distance learning, evaluation of curricula, second language acquisition, and many other topics. And we also recognize that many of you have to advocate for your language programs in your schools or your communities. And so many LRCs offer resources to support you in that advocacy. Now, many LRCs have a general focus, so they're not focused on a specific area of the world or a specific group of languages. They provide resources that are applicable to teachers of all languages, or may provide resources specific to a few different languages. So the LRCs with a general focus are the Assessment and Evaluation Language Resource Center at Georgetown University and the Center for Applied Linguistics, the Center for Advanced Language Proficiency Education and Research at Pennsylvania State University, the Center for Applied Second Language Studies at the University of Oregon, the Center for Educational Resources in Culture, Language, and Literacy at the University of Arizona, the Center for Open Educational Resources and Language Learning at the University of Texas at Austin, the Center for Urban Language Teaching and Research at Georgia State University, the National Foreign Language Resource Center at the University of Hawaii, and the National Heritage Language Resource Center at the University of California, Los Angeles. And then 3 of our newest language resource centers started in 2018 with a general focus are the Open Language Resource Center at the University of Kansas, the Professionals in Education Advancing Research and Language Learning at the University of Maryland, and the Second Language Teaching and Research Center at the University of Utah.
So now you've had an introduction to the LRC program as a whole, and you have an idea of the kinds of activities and projects that the different centers work on. You also know that some of the centers have a more general area of focus, but there are also some centers that have a specific regional focus. Of course, all of us work on projects that impact the instruction of less commonly taught languages, but 5 of our centers are specifically organized around particular regions, and their goal is to develop effective instructional programs for the languages in their area. And those 5 centers, as you can see on your screen, are the Center for Languages of the Central Asian Region at Indiana University. Also at Indiana University, the National African Language Resource Center, the Ohio State University's National East Asian Languages Resource Center, the National Resource Center for Asian Languages at California State University, Fullerton, and finally Duke University's Slavic and Eurasian Language Resource Center. As a whole, the program, the LRC program, covers an extensive area that basically encompasses the entire United States, from Hawaii to the East Coast, with centers represented along the West Coast, the Intermountain West, the Southwest, the Midwest, the South. So basically the entire country. So you probably have a center in your regional area that you can work with more closely if that's what you need. So just to wrap it up, make sure to stay connected. There's a webpage, nflrc.org, that you can go to if you want to link to a specific LRC. If you want to see the kinds of materials and products that we work on and access them, you can do that on our webpage. There's also a searchable calendar where you can look at upcoming events, workshops, institutes, conferences, symposia, etc. And we're here to support your efforts in terms of language education. So make sure to check with us, not just when you need professional development, but for any other language-related needs. Visit us online, nflrc.org, or reach out to us using social media. Many of the centers have active social media accounts on Twitter and Facebook, so you can do that, or you can use more traditional forms of communication like telephone, I guess, and email to reach out to us. And all that contact information is available in the webpage on nflrc.org. So this is the end of this brief presentation, but we are now available for questions. So please continue the conversation with the speaker using the live chat feature. And remember that you can download this PowerPoint presentation and handouts and brochures directly from our Google Drive folder. And for the remainder of this Simulive session, we'll be here to answer any questions. So if you, say, teach middle school Spanish and are interested in curriculum resources for your learners, let us know and we can direct you to the right source. Or maybe you're curious about assessment in the less commonly taught languages. Again, let us know and we will direct you to the materials that LRCs have available for that. So we want to hear from you. Please use the live chat feature to ask questions. Thank you so much for your attention, and continue to engage with us. Thank you.